The 1980s were a different kind of Australia. Out on the open road, it wasn't laws or paperwork that kept the country moving. It was stubborn men, rattling engines, and a kind of toughness that's almost extinct now. Back then, truckies didn't have safety officers breathing down their necks or GPS trackers watching every stop. You just got in, fired her up, and pointed the bonnet toward the horizon. The stuff they pulled off back then would make today's transport bosses choke on their morning coffee. First up, driving through exhaustion. Nobody talked about fatigue management. You worked until your eyes gave up. The old school truckies would push through entire nights, faces lit by the green glow of the dash, keeping awake with coffee thick enough to strip paint and enough cigarettes to fog a warehouse. Rest stops were for the weak, or for when your eyelids physically refused to stay open. You didn't drive for comfort, you drove for pride. Then there was hauling overloaded trailers, the unspoken sport of the decade. Companies paid by the ton and the drivers followed suit. If the suspension didn't snap and the trailer could still move, it was fair game. You'd roll into the weighbridge praying the scales were off that day or that the operator had ducked out for a smoke. Everyone had a trick, a valve tweak here, a quick airbag dump there. The road trains looked like they were bending the laws of physics, and most days, they were. Another outlaw move was having a beer mid-run. A stubby on the dash wasn't rebellion, it was routine. The outback was quiet, the cops were scarce, and the road was long. You'd pull over for a sip, you'd stretch your legs, maybe share one with a mate headed the other way. No one cared as long as you kept it straight. Today, one drink would see you banned before the bottle hit the floor mat. Then came fixing your truck while it was still moving. Something rattled loose? You didn't stop, you handled it. Old hands leaned out the window at 90 clicks, spanner in hand, tightening clamps, checking straps, or even nudging the side mirror back into place. You'd see blokes step onto the side steps mid-drive just to listen to a noise. It wasn't safe, but it was faster, when speed meant money. Another habit that would never fly now was smoking while refueling. Every yard reeked of diesel and tobacco. You'd see drivers leaning against fuel bowsers, ciggy hanging from their lip, chatting about the weather while filling up 600 liters. The concrete was slick with spilt fuel, and the air shimmered with fumes. One bad spark, and the whole place could have gone up, but somehow it didn't. Maybe luck, maybe bush magic. Then there was passengers in the cab. The road was lonely, and truckies filled the silence however they could. Mates, girlfriends, backpackers, even the family dog. There was always someone riding shotgun. Kids came along for holidays, learning swear words and road etiquette before they learned algebra. No seatbelts, no insurance, no worries. You drove careful because someone you cared about was beside you, and that was worth more than a rule book. Bush repairs were a daily ritual. Nothing out there lasted long. Not the tires, not the hoses, not the patience. Truckies turned into engineers with whatever they had: fencing wire, duct tape, a bar of soap, or a rag soaked in fuel. One bloke used chewing gum to plug a fuel leak and made it 300 kilometers before it gave out. Another patched a radiator with porridge oats. It wasn't about doing it right, it was about doing it now. And when the day finally caught up, you crashed wherever the engine stopped. No fancy sleepers or truck stops, just dirt, frost, and a thin blanket that smelt of grease. You'd kill the lights, lie there with the cab creaking in the cold, and stare out the window at the stars. Some slept under their trailers, some on the bonnet, chasing a bit of warmth from the engine. The night air was brutal, but the silence was pure. No phones, no noise, just the hum of the desert wind and the feeling that you were part of something bigger than comfort. The driver behind steered blind through clouds of red dust, one hand gripping the wheel, the other on the air horn in case things went wrong. No escorts, no warning signs, no reflective jackets, just two blokes trusting steel and guts to do the job. These days, that'd shut a highway down for hours, complete with hazard tape and a safety supervisor. Back then, it was just how you showed loyalty. Then came driving with busted gear. A cracked windscreen wasn't a problem, it was a view. Headlight blown? Strap a torch to the bull bar. Mirrors fell off? You learned to lean. Truckies didn't have time or money to wait for spare parts. If it ran, it rolled. You'd see rigs limping through the outback with panels missing, brake lights flickering, and exhaust pipes wired in place. And they looked like they were held together by willpower. And most of them were. Cooking on the engine was another trick that'd give today's health inspectors nightmares. You'd wrap steak, onions, and potatoes in foil, wedge it by the manifold, and let it simmer while you drove. By the time you hit the next roadhouse, dinner was ready and smelling like diesel heaven. Coffee got brewed the same way, in a tin, on the heat, bubbling next to a few bolts and a screwdriver. No cutlery, no plates, just pure bush ingenuity. Then there was carting dangerous loads with zero safety gear. Explosives, oil drums, mining fuel. If it fit on the trailer, it went. No warning placards, no gloves, and definitely no paperwork. You'd light a smoke while standing next to drums that could level half a paddock. Everyone knew it wasn't smart, but no one said a word. It was just freight, and freight had to move. Another daily risk was hand signaling on highways. Before CB radios became common, truckies relied on gestures. A raised hand meant cheers, mate. A flick of the fingers meant come through. The problem was, it all happened at 100 kilometers an hour. You'd lean out the window into freezing wind, arms stretched into the night, praying no bird or road sign clipped you. It was stupid, sure, but it was also human, like a connection between blokes who spent weeks in silence. Running without proper registration was more common than anyone would admit. When the paperwork lagged or a depot ran short on plates, the trucks just went anyway. You'd see mismatched tags, cardboard signs scrawled with Rego numbers, or no plates at all. If a copper pulled you over, you gave him a grin and said, "Boss sent me out in a hurry." 9 times out of 10, he'd wave you through. It wasn't lawless, it was just the Outback way. Then came the ghost run trick. When the company said a route was closed or off limits, some drivers went anyway. They'd take back roads, dirt trails, or forgotten service tracks that weren't on any map. It was quicker, riskier, and often deadly. Narrow bridges, washed out creeks, or drop-offs hidden by dust. But if you made it through, you were a legend. Those shortcuts saved hours and kept freight moving when everyone else was waiting for permission. And the one thing no one talks about anymore? Skipping maintenance to stay on the road. The company yards were full of rigs waiting for repair, but downtime meant lost money, so drivers patched, taped, and prayed. Worn tires ran another 2,000 kilometers. Brakes that pulled to one side were good enough for now. Every time a truck rolled out like that, it was a gamble between paycheck and disaster. Still, those blokes got the job done. They weren't reckless for the sake of it. They were just men working in a world that didn't hand out second chances. They learned to rely on each other, to trust their instincts, and to take the kind of risks that made the difference between freight delivered and freight forgotten. The laws came later, the systems followed, and the roads got safer, but they also got softer. The truckies of the 1980s lived on the edge of reason and the edge of the map. What they did would be banned, fined, or filmed today. But without them, half the country would have gone hungry.